Over 600 cars worth more than $300 million. This isn't just a car show. This is the Super Bowl of muscle. One weekend, one building, more factory correct numbers matching legends than most people will see in a lifetime. This isn't just the best muscle car show on earth. It is the Vault. And for 48 hours, the doors are wide open.
The first car we're going to take a look at is this 1967 Camaro Z28. And if you guys can see down here, this car is very important because it holds over 10 world records. If we walk down the side, we can see that this is a 302 cubic inch equipped car, and it does belong to Fred Gibb Chevrolet out in La Harpe, Illinois. If you guys are not familiar with Fred Gibb, he is of ZL1 fame, but this was his first Chevrolet race car. This car has worn several different liveries over its time, but it's brought back here today in its original M Code Royal Plum color. If we take a look at this car, we can see that there's actually no Z28 badges on it. It only has the Z28 stripes. And what's cool about a 67 is, of course, you can see how the C, H, and the E for Chevrolet is cut out in the back stripe. So if you guys are new to McCacken, this is basically a whole bunch of different car shows inside one big car show. And what I mean by that is we have an invitational display behind us of all B-body Mopar convertibles. Now these range from 1966 all the way to 1970. And per my research, I've basically found that there's only about 157 of these cars across all 4 years. And in this display, we probably have anywhere from about 15 to 20 of them. Now, one of the cars that I want to take a look at specifically in this section is this car over here. This is a 69 GTX convertible Hemi, but it has a great story behind it. This car was actually used in a bank robbery in Canada. It was stolen in the early 1970s, used on that robbery, and whenever they were done robbing the bank, they actually just abandoned this car in a field in Canada. And that's where the owner had found it and then restored it and then brought it to this show. Some of you may be wondering how expensive these cars are. Well, there's one of these convertibles in the barn find section that we'll take a look at later in this video that they sold at auction 3 weeks ago. And I bet you're going to be shocked at the price. As you can see, there's a whole bunch of people here on Saturday at McCacken, but we're in the class of 65 section right now where they have the Z16 Invitational. And a couple things that you need to know about the Z16 is that they were the Malibu Super Sport 396s, and they were only available in 3 different colors. One of them is black, one of them is of course in Caracas yellow, and the third is in the red one that we have down here. Now, what exactly is a Z16? Well, they were equipped with the L37, 396, 375 horse, not the L78s, but these cars were completely loaded. You can see kind of back there, they have the speakers in the rear deck back there. They also have speakers down here in the lower kick panel. They were kind of like executive cars, although not executive, that were sold to the public to get everybody ready for the 1966 season. Now, these cars were also fully boxed, meaning that they basically ride on a convertible frame. There's no U for the frame underneath, it's completely boxed in. They only made 201 of these cars, and you can see we have a whole row of them here at McCacken. The cool thing is there's 2 of them found down here at the end of the row that are barn finds. As you can see, this one down here's got a original paint, one of 3 known completely running driving Z16s with original paint, interior numbers matching, drivetrain, Protecto plate. This is the stuff of a Chevy man's wet dream right here at McCacken. One of the more important olds that I want to take a look at is this green one right behind us. Now, this isn't a Cutlass, this isn't a Cutlass S, this is the base model Oldsmobile F85. However, this, if you can see on the badge on the side, is a W31. Now, what is the W31? Well, that would be the small block 350 that they called the Ramrod back in 1970. Now, if we pull back here a little bit and we take a look at this license plate down here, we see W27. And That's a pretty rare option when it comes to these cars, and we don't actually have to go to the underside of this car to see what that is. We can come over here and check out this basically W27 aluminum center. Now the whole center was aluminum and the tubes here were steel, but if you were to break this center in 1970, they would actually replace it with a Chevrolet 12 volt. So we're in one of my favorite sections. This is the Sinister 69s, and of course the first three cars here all are in code 10 tuxedo black. This car needs no introduction. Of course, it's a RS Z28 powered by that 302 DZ motor. And you can see that on the black cars, of course, the grille was actually silver. If this was an RS in a different color, this would be black. And of course, this one also has the extremely rare Endura bumper front option. The car that I love in this section is this 1969 Baldwin Motion Camaro right here. Now, this is a real one, guys. This is not a fake. This is not a clone. The dollar figure on this car probably has 2 commas in it, not 1. This is the only remaining black Baldwin Motion 1969 Camaro in existence. They only sold 7 of these from the dealership to my knowledge, and this is one of them here on display, and this also is a Pennsylvania car. We also have this 69 convertible in tuxedo black behind it. Now this also is an L78 396 with that 375 horsepower engine in it. And man, do these cars just look spectacular here on display. We also have a 67 and we also have a 68 in this same area, and it's this Deepwater Blue RSSS. However, this is a Harrell-built Yenko, meaning that this car was built by Dick Harrell, who actually put the engines in the early Camaros for Don Yenko, and you can see the 427 down inside. Now this is a 410 horse car, it's not a 425, but this one was actually built in St. Louis, not in Canonsburg, Pennsylvania, and you can see that it also has that pace car interior. So I found my buddy Chris here in the Corvair section, and Chris is a little bit more knowledgeable on the Corvair Stingers than I am. And Chris, how are you?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Awesome. And Chris actually owns a Corvair business. So Chris, tell us a little bit about that, and what can we learn about these cars
Sure.
then?
Well, I have a Corvair dealership. We restore and sell and repair Corvairs for a living, so that's what we do out of Nebraska. And so Yenko Stinger's been a dream car of mine. It took me 36 years to acquire, but love these cars, love their history. So happy to talk about this.
What can you tell us about this 66 here behind us? What should we know about the first year for these cars?
Sure. So in 1965 November, Don Yenko, who owned a dealership in Canonsburg, Pennsylvania, was big into racing, and he saw the potential of these cars, and he called into General Motors and provided what's called a COPO order, Central Office Production Order. SCCA required that you have 100 homologous cars to qualify for racing, and so these were Class D production racing for SCCA. He bought 100 of them, and then he modified them. As you'll see, the stripes are unique to them. The sail panel on the side window right here creates a coupe look.
Yeah.
The back seats are removed, which SCCA required them to remove.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And then the engines were heavily modified from a stage 1 of 160 horsepower to a stage 4 of 240 horsepower.
Now let's talk about why these cars are Yenko related, because Don, by this point in 66, he was what, 2-time national SCCA champion. He was a race car driver.
Yes.
And so why did he choose the Corvair?
Well, first of all, obviously he's a Chevrolet dealership, so
Right.
he's going to deal with Chevrolet. He also saw the potential of the rear engine car. It's a 60-40 weight distribution, fully independent suspension. So the capabilities for them on the track were exceptional. They love corners, and they're very competitive because of their cornering ability, certainly.
Now I see in this car right here, it says stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4.
Yes.
Did they all come on 66 with the stages, or when did those start happening?
Yeah, so obviously the more they modify the engine, the more horsepower, cams and head work and carburation work and whatnot. The vast majority of 66s, the white ones, were stage 2.
Okay.
There were a few stage 1s. 3s and 4s really unheard of. We'll come to the 69, which is a stage 4 car later. But these were, for the most part, stage 1 and 2.
So this is a 66. Can you take us to a 67?
Yeah, so there were 100 Copo cars in 66, and in 67 there were 14.
Oh, wow.
So it was much more limited production. So you'll see this blue ones. Now the Corsa model had been discontinued for 67.
Okay.
So Don Yanko in 66 used the Corsa for his basis with a 140 engine. So he had to order Monzas for this year, which don't have the dash full gauge packages, and a 140 engine. So there were only 11 blue ones in 67, and there were then also 3 red ones that were produced. Now,
Only 3?
Only 3. Now, I believe, to the best of my knowledge, one of the 3 is, we don't know where it is. This one is Ed Canines. He's the historian of what I call the Yenkos of
Very
Copo.com.
familiar with his work. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
And this is his car. So there's this one and one other that we know where they're at.
So
And
there's
then,
one missing.
to the best of my knowledge, yes.
Okay.
Yep. That is correct. So these were mostly stage 1 cars, I believe, in 67. And again, you'll notice they're a little bit different because it's the next model year, no Corsa, a different dash. And then, as we shift gears after this, there was one more Copo car built, and that was the Goodyear tire testing car over here, and that was in 1969.
So there's no 68s?
Nope. Correct.
No 68s then. Wow.
So
okay.
no 68s. This one was, and I don't know all the details. Bob Denny, who owns this car, he can tell you more than you want to know probably.
Sure.
But basically, as my understanding is that Goodyear called up and said, I need a car that'll do 140 on the track so we can test these 13-inch tires. So this is a stage 4 car, I believe, so that it was capable of those speeds, and this was their tire testing car. And so Bob acquired it, gosh, probably been 15, 20 years ago, I think, somewhere in there. But it's basically one of one. It's very unique in that regard. And that was the last Copo Corvair Yenko Stinger made.
Awesome. Well, Chris, I didn't even know they made this in 1969, and I learned from you that there's 3 red ones, 11 blue ones, and no 68s.
Right, and 100 white ones.
And
Yep.
100 white ones. Awesome, awesome. Well, Chris, I just want to say thank you for your time. And what again was your business then, if you want to let the people know?
Absolutely. So I have Shades Classic Corvairs in Hastings, Nebraska. ShadesClassicCars.com. Again, we restore, sell, repair Corvairs for a living, and love to meet some new people too.
Do you sell new parts for Corvairs too? Or?
We don't sell parts. We just do.
Okay.
We do the restorations and the sales and repairs on them.
All right. So if you guys need that, hit up Chris. Chris, thank you so much.
Pleasure
man.
to meet you, Parker.
So I'm standing here with John in the 1978 Mustang II King Cobra section, and I was speaking with him and talked about the rear louvers on this car. He quickly corrected me and said that the louvers were never available on a King Cobra. John, how are you?
I'm doing well. Not only louvers, but no side louvers either. These cars came blank. They also came with or without the target strip, depending on whether they were an early build. If they were an early build, they didn't have it, but the sheet metal was so bad that as they went on, they started putting this target strip to hide issues.
Here at the show, we'll walk back out this way so you can see all of them. We actually have all 8 colors here.
Exactly.
Is that right?
That is correct.
And how many of these did they make?
4,900, right around there. We have, the actual stats for specific color breakdown. We'll grab it for you and go through it. But kind of a rare car to begin with, and an expensive car. Did you know that?
Oh, I did not know.
No. So it turns out the King Cobra was probably the most expensive Mustang ever built.
Really?
Maybe up until just recently, if you got a GT500 with a carbon fiber track back.
Okay.
It comes in 3 varieties. We'll start with the orange car up there. And if you look at the orange car, the roof on it, the hood, will have a black and a red Cobra. That decal combination was available in any color paint, and about 8% of cars came with that. 90% of the cars came with the gold and the orange. Now you had to pay attention. The rims over there, the 13-inch lacy rims are red. The 13-inch lacy rims on this car are orange. You get it?
Yep.
And let's go to the blue car. So if you bought a silver or white King Cobra in 1978, you were able to order the double blue. And this is 2% of all cars. You got the blue lacy rims. You got the blue contrasting pinstriping on the bumper inserts, and you got 166 foot of blue, pinstriping. That's actually how much are on these cars.
Now, this is the first time that we do see the 5.0 logo on a Mustang.
That's right.
Is that right?
5.0 moniker didn't come out until 1978, and only on the King Cobra. The 302 engine was available late 75, started out at 122 horsepower, ended up at 139 in the King Cobra. It's still not a particularly, robust car, and they never offered a 4-barrel carb. They were all 2 barrels, so all of these are 2 barrels.
Which one of these cars is your car, John?
All 8.
All of these are yours?
Yeah, of course. You have to have one of every color.
Oh, Jesus.
And what's the point of having a King Cobra if you don't have one of
I knew he was the right guy.
Every color. So let's go and take a look at some of the finer details. We'll have to look at maybe the white car to point out a few things.
Okay.
But we'll give you some statistics too around the front. So black was very popular, about 1,200, about 1,100 of these. The black and red made up 50% of the production of King Cobras. So these were pretty popular. Our cars are done right. So they'll have the Motorcraft DuraSpark date-coded correct spark plugs. They'll have the correct regulator with the blue on the bottom of it, the correct electronic ignition. It'll have the red PCV valve if it happens to be a 4-speed rather than the black. It'll have a single nipple rather than 2, which would have been the replacement. So all the things on the car are correct. Little things are hard to tell, but the original Ford solenoid came with only a single a stud on it, not 2. And if you look at most solenoids, they'll have 2, not on an original Ford, which is embossed with the Ford. So we kind of put our cars back to the way they're supposed to be.
Well, I see here on the board here, it said this is considered the #1 of 10 wimpiest muscle cars ever built by popular mechanics.
Yeah, I have the article if you want to read it.
Well, I was going to ask you, what is your opinion if someone was to resto mod one of these cars?
I don't care. It's what they want to do with their cars. It's just not our cup of tea. We put them back to, their original shape. Now, that being said, we have sacrificed about 20 other Mustangs to get these back. And only one of these cars has not been completely restored. Can you pick it out? All have been completely restored. Which one has not?
I'm going to say the silver one down there.
Nope. The black one right here, that's original paint on that car.
Really?
So yeah, so this one is about...
My dad had one of these.
Yeah, so take a look at the paint. You can kind of tell. It's got swirl marks and stuff. It was never repainted in its life. We'll give you some numbers here. So black, they built 1,334, red 1,249. By the time you get the blue, it's 843, 566 for the white, silver 451. Now look, 258 for brown, orange, the tangerine 147. By the time you get the yellow, you're 123 cars. There's not a lot of those out there. So it's a total 4,971.
I got one question for you, John.
Sure.
If you go online and you take a look at a lot of these cars, a lot of them have a Mustang snake right here.
What? Did somebody put a Cobra emblem on the front grill? No, they never came with it.
They never came like that,
No,
right?
that's everybody. But look at, come on. Let's go look at any of these cars.
Love this guy.
Let's look at this one. What did they do on the louvers on the back here? Oh, we slapped a self-stick Cobra. I didn't do that. The car actually came this way, and I left the rear louvers on both the windows and the back, but none of that came with it. These look like the white car. They came with no louvers, no snakes.
Is there anything else that we should go over here before we stop, or?
Other than these are actually starting to go up in value. How about that? They haven't for years, and they were maligned for years, and they're finally getting a little bit of their due. And that's why we're here today, because Bob Aston, the guy runs the Muscle Car and Corvette National, said, hey, I think people will enjoy these, and they've been a big hit.
They do enjoy them. I enjoy them as well, and I hope you guys enjoy them at home. John, I just want to say thank you so much. Thank you. We made it to the barn find section here at McCacken 2025. And of course, the first car we're going to talk about is this 1969 Talladega. Now, we had a Talladega in one of our previous videos, but we didn't actually talk about why it was called a Talladega. See, in 1969, the Super Speedway Talladega was opening up, and that's why they called it this car. The first race didn't exactly go the way Ford wanted, and a Dodge Daytona did win. There was a little bit of a discrepancy. A lot of the NASCAR drivers actually sat out of that race due to the speeds being so great at that track, over 190 miles an hour. The Goodyear tires would actually shred, and they didn't think it was safe. When they reran the race about a month later, that's when the Talladega did win for the first time at Talladega. When we're talking about proper barn finds, this 1969 Pontiac GTO Judge is exactly the way that you would expect it to look here in the barn find section. I love that this car still has the dust on it. This car still has the dust in it. Nobody has taken a pressure washer to this car. Now, of course, the judges did get the wing back here, but what I think is cool is that this one was equipped with a CV radio. Of course, all judges were Ram Air 3s, and I think we can take a look at the window sticker over here and see if this is a Ram Air 4. And no, it does say 4 here, but it would be a Roman numeral for 4 instead of the 4 barrels. So this is a Ram Air 3 car, and it's also, I believe it is a 4-speed as well, although 3 speeds were standard for most Pontiacs at the time. This is a 1969 Dodge Super Bee 440 6-pack A12, and this M-Code engine came out halfway through the year in 1969 on the Corvette platform in the Super Bee to dominate the drag strip. Of course, they came with the Dana rear end. This one's equipped with a 4-speed, and you could also get them in a hardtop or the Post version that this one is right here. This car is done in the first year for Butterscotch, and man, do I think that this thing looks great. I'm not sure if they actually have the lift-off hood to this car. We see that the fender tag is missing, and I don't know if that is the numbers matching engine for it, but this is one of the barn finds that I would love to have in my collection. The car behind me is this 1970 Boss 302, and for 1970, the stripe layout was a little bit different than in 1969. The 70 went down the side, up and over the hood, and in 69, they just went down the door, almost like a backward C. You can see this one does have a 4-speed on the inside, and of course, all Boss 302s, 69 or 70 quarter panels look just like this. This car was originally equipped with a, yes, looks like a W code traction lock differential, and it does say, yes, it did come with the optional shaker hood. So man, this was a pretty well equipped Boss 302 in 1970, and of course it is finished in this grabber blue, and we can see here that it's owned by Lost Muscle Cars Wes Eisenshank. The next car we're going to take a look at is this 1965 Oldsmobile Club Coupe. Now it was powered by a 404-speed with 433 rear gears. Of course, it's finished in factory burgundy mist with the sterling interior, and the owner does say that this is a 1 of 1. You can see here down at the bottom that they only made 1,087 Club Coupes in 1965, and only 40 are accounted for so far. The next car we have is a 1965 Pontiac GTO hardtop with a special order paint with Corvette Nassau Blue, and man, does this Nassau Blue look beautiful in this barn find patina. I personally think a lot of blue cars with patina look the best. However, this does have a 389 tri-power setup with the 360 horsepower. It does have a M21 4-speed transmission with that white interior, but I don't think that I've ever seen a GTO this original before in my entire life. I mean, what do you guys think at home? That is exactly the way that it would have looked in 1965, minus the dirt, minus the mouse holes. The next car we're going to take a look at here is a 1963 Dodge Polara. And I believe I was told that this is the only Dodge Polara convertible that was equipped with the 426 Max Wedge from the factory. Yes, right here, it is the only one. And of course, it is black with the stripe. We don't come across these very often. This is pre-Street Hemi 1963. This was the car to have. Next car we have is a 1965 Buick Grand Sport. Now, this car was originally built on the Skylark platform, and it does have that nailhead 401 down inside. And The engine puts out about 325 horsepower, but you can see here that it makes 445 foot-pounds of torque. Fun fact about this car was referred to as the Super Bird in the advertising in 1965. Not a Plymouth, but first with the Buick. Now this car was found in a barn in Wisconsin, and if you actually take a look here at the hood, you can see that when they redid the roof on the barn, all the glue dripped down on top of this car. Pretty cool car here at McCacken 2025. Now we talked about those Hemi B-body convertibles at the beginning of this video. This car behind me just sold 3 weeks ago for $220,000. Yes, in this condition, you can see the air grabber hood. As you can see, it's a 1970 Plymouth Roadrunner 440 6-barrel, which means it came with the V code. So not as potent as the cars at the beginning of this video, but yet it brought all of the money 3 weeks ago at Richmond auctions. Now with that being said, what do you guys think those B-body convertibles with the Hemi are worth at the beginning? Basically was finished in EB3 blue, and it does have the white top on it. It is a 4-speed. It did have the hood open earlier. It doesn't have the hood open now. But I mean, this is one of the best looking cars I think of all time with that 70 Roadrunner front grille. We can see that it does have the California license plate. But it just goes to show you that barn finds are bringing all the money. So I'm standing here with my buddy Ethan. Ethan, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, good. And this is your 1969 AMC AMX. However, this one's done a little bit differently than AMXs we've had on the channel. What can you tell us about this car, Ethan?
Well, this is my SCCA race car. I'm not sure if it's a real one or it's just amateur. Okay. But it's still really cool. I mean,
yeah, it definitely has a really cool look. It's kind of got like that Mark Donahue style, basically Trans Am vibe to it, which were very successful. Tell us the story, Ethan, because you're a young guy. How did you get into this car? Where did you find it? Walk me through that whole process.
Well, it found me.
Oh, it found you?
Yeah. Okay. I wasn't even looking for it. I was going to go buy a 401 from this guy, and it was in his garage. So I'm like, do you want to sell that? I'm like, because I want it.
Now, this car is called Captain America?
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. And we have a few photos. We have a few photos of this car actually racing back in the day.
Yeah, that's at, I think, Nelson Ledges in Garrettsville, Ohio.
And is that where this car came from, Ohio? Or?
Yes, around the Cleveland area.
Around the Cleveland area, yeah. Wow. Okay. And what are your plans with this car?
Well, I want to get it safe and drive it like this.
Do you have an engine that came with it at all?
I don't, but I have a few to choose from.
Few to choose from?
Yeah.
Wow, okay. And you actually are trying to find any history of this car to kind of fill in some of the gaps, is that right? And
anything at all.
If you guys have any information about this car, of course, you know, leave a comment in the comment section, give me an email, let me know. I can get that to Ethan. But he also has a YouTube channel called Wrench and Rust right there that you can go to subscribe if you want to see this car later on down the road.
Just starting out too, so.
Awesome, Ethan. Well, cool. Thanks for bringing on by.
Thanks.
You don't run across these very often. This is a 1970 Oldsmobile Cutlass or a Hurst Olds. Now, I kind of hesitate to say that because Hurst actually didn't have anything to do with these cars in 1979 other than the Hurst dual gate shifter. This is built on the G-body platform, and it's actually the only G-body that had a 350 in it in 1969. If we come over to this side over here, we can see the W30 logo. Now, this is also the first time that a W30 would have a 350 in it instead of the 455. This car was available in two different color combinations, gold and black or white and gold. But I don't think I've ever seen one of these before in barn find condition. One of the most underrated barn finds in this section is this car right here. And if you don't look at the tag down there, you might have just thought it would have been a K-code Mustang, but no. This is a 1965 Shelby GT350, one of about 560 made that year. Now, if we take a look right here, we can see that there basically is two stacks of metal, which would confirm that this is a Shelby. And if we also look in the back seat, well, there isn't a back seat. This is a really, really cool car. They do have the Shelby specific wheels down here. Not sure if those are the original Blue Dot tires, but damn, this thing is sweet. You can see the GT350 badge back here. Man, I don't know where this car came from. I haven't spoke to the owner about it, but this is one of the coolest barn finds here that people just consistently have been walking by. Guys, a restored one of these brings $600,000, much more than most of the other cars in this section. What do you guys think? Another cool car again is this 1968 BO29 Super Stock Barracuda. Now this of course would be the sister car to the LO23 Hemi Dart, and both cars were extremely successful and extremely fast in 1968. I believe they built about 50 to 70 of these back in the day, but everything on this car from basically the firewall forward is fiberglass. The fenders are fiberglass. Not sure how well that's going to pick up on camera. The hood is fiberglass. It's held down by hood pins. Now on this car, we can see that it does have the bushings down here for the K-frame that would be found on a Hemi. And we also have the box over here that insinuates this car was an original super stock Hemi car. We also have the plate here that offsets the master cylinder to clear the Hemi valve covers. Really, really, really cool car. Again, we also have the fender tag here, which confirms that this is a real BO29. Not a joke, not a slouch, an extremely rare, extremely valuable muscle car. It's probably one of the most original ones I have actually ever seen. But I want to talk about this car behind us. This is a 1970 Chevelle LS6. Now, this car is known as Sun-Kissed. It was found a few years ago by Patrick Glenn Nichols, and it's owned by a gentleman named Mike Kaiser. We'll get to that here in just a second though. You can see it's got the fly eye on it. However, this car is done in a special paint. You can see it does have a dash here in the cow tag, which simulates that this car was a basically almost hugger orange car from the factory, one of only about 15 known to exist today. I said this car was owned by Mike Kaiser. Mike Kaiser is actually a gentleman out in Arizona who, if you go back to my very first barn find video on this channel, he actually purchased that orange Z28. So I know Mike and he's a very good friend. This car is really cool. You can see here it has all the vintage photos. We can see the Sun-Kissed lettering right here on the side, but this is the earliest known LS6 from the California Van Nuys plant. Guys, we have Tom with Rocket Restorations, and how are you, Tom?
Good, how are you?
Good, good. I watch a lot of your videos.
Excellent. I watched some of yours too. Yeah. I watched that one.
I didn't know you were this tall in real life.
I'm pretty tall, yes. It's hard to tell on camera how tall you are.
Well, cool. I kind of refrained from some of the videos because I knew I was going to see this car in person,
right.
But I know you told me that this is a super, super rare car. What are we looking at here, Tom?
Yeah, it's a 1970 Plymouth Sport Fury GT, which is rare in and of its own right. They made 666 of them.
Okay.
But this is a V-code 446 barrel car. Like,
really?
This car was considered a myth till like 15, 20 years ago. Nobody even knew these existed.
I think they made like, what, 2?
Well, they made 64.
Oh, okay.
But there's 3 known with numbers matching, and then I think there's 11 known cars to have survived. So, but there's only one running one in the nation. This is the second one that's actually running. It's the only one that's numbers matching and still runs. So.
Now, this was a pretty local car to me. It was around West Virginia.
Yep,
is that
West
right?
Virginia. Yep, the owners are here right now.
Okay.
They're hanging out. They just saw for the first time yesterday.
What do they think?
They're over the moon. He started it yesterday, and like the smile on his face. So, but yeah, this was sold new in West Virginia. They bought it from a family friend in '78, and then it had an off-road excursion in 1981.
Okay.
And then he was really mad at himself and just parked in the back of the barn.
Very common for the time.
Yep.
Yeah,
yep.
I run into a lot of those, like
Yeah,
a dented fender, and they park you forever.
He had a patch of ice and was really mad at himself. So, and then basically we're doing what we call a preservation restoration. So we're trying to keep it as original as possible. The interior is mint. It was in a dark barn with no light. The interior is like the nicest interior I've ever seen on a '70s Sport Fury.
No mice problems in that barn?
Oh, it was awful. But like,
okay.
But they didn't do anything. There's no holes in the headliner. Like the seats are nice. It's unbelievable how nice the interior is.
Maybe they had cats.
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, no. There's a skeleton on the dash. Like we found mice nests in there.
Well, let me ask you. I watched a few of the videos, and Is this the hood that came with the car, or
Yes.
you had to throw that hood away?
No,
or?
this is the hood that came with the car.
Okay.
We're gonna replace it. So
What was wrong with it? I never figured that out.
the hood scoop. So
Oh, okay.
that's basically a Ford type hood scoop.
Yeah.
It's not a Ford hood scoop. It's a J.C. Whitney catalog. But the story goes, they found the son of the original owner. So they said when it came in the dealership, there was a dent that was up on the hood. And they swear that the carb stud, that the motor was too tall, and the carb stud hit the hood and dented the hood. And the dealership's like, they're kind of freaking out, like, oh, what do we do? Okay, we'll fix this. He's like, well, I want a hood scoop anyways. But then they punched a bunch of holes in it, speed holes, I guess. I don't know.
Oh,
that's a Simpsons joke.
Yeah.
And then, but I mean, the hood's awful. Like, it looks like there's a Talladega over there. It's the same hood scoop.
Yep.
So we're gonna take it off. So we had the hood all painted, ready to go on before the show. And then we're just about to put it back on after we put the motor back in. And we're like, we couldn't do it. Like the barn find, like this needs to be on the for the barn find.
I'm a fan of that.
So yeah.
I'm a fan that you did that. You left the originality of
It's not
the
gonna
car.
stay. We're gonna put another hood on, but this is gonna hang on the wall next to the car in the guy's shop.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep,
Awesome.
the owner's shop. Brent's the owner, super nice guy.
Yeah, I just honestly have never really heard of these cars until it
Yeah.
kind of came across your YouTube channel,
Yeah.
and I didn't know they exist, but
They're
now
really
I do.
cool. Yeah, I've got one of myself. So this is a good story right here. So we found these in the back seat. These are lead-weighted gloves. You know what
Ooh.
those are for?
Not exactly, no.
You know what brass knuckles are?
Yeah.
Same concept.
Oh,
There's a pair of these in the back seat. So pick that thing up.
yeah. Oh, yeah, it is.
So if you have a little argument in a bar,
West Virginia, huh?
West Virginia, yep.
Well,
You
cool.
know, and we found a Stroh's can in the back that's still in there too. Yep.
Awesome. Well, Tom, I appreciate your time, and thank you for bringing it out.
Appreciate it. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. No problem.
Talk about a barn find of a lifetime. Now, we started this video with the 1967 Z28, and we have another one here behind us. However, this is an RS version. Now, remember, there was only 602 of these cars built in 1967, but the RS version makes it extremely more rare. You can see the original tag on here, and we also see where it says 4L down here at the bottom, where that would denote that this is a Z28. Now, this car was raced back in the day. We can see it does have the bigger slicks on the back than on the front. We also have the tow bar here. But what I want to show you is that this one was legitimately found in a barn. We also see that it was owned by a veteran. But one of the cooler photos is I'm not sure how the car is kind of in the air, but she is in the water. So just a cool photo I wanted to show you. Now, the RS package in 1967 was actually electrical. So there is no vacuum tubes like it would have on a 69. They operate electrically. We also see how the C is cut out here in the stripe for a 67 Z28, and this one only has the RS callouts on the front. We also talked about the rear traction bar underneath for a 67. Now, he's putting the seats under here right now, but this car would have a rear traction bar that we can see all the way over here, and the rod going into that bar is square, so that would mean that this is a late build car. If we go back to the front of this car and look at the tag, we can confirm that it is built in 04C, and of course the white was factory for a 67Z as well. Really, really cool car. The last car we're going to talk about here is this Corvette LS6, and we see here that it says LS6 L89. In 1971, the 454 did come with aluminum heads, and we can take a look at that right here and see the winter snowflake casting. Now, this car did have 425 horsepower and was actually the second most powerful engine built back in the day by Chevrolet. I do believe this is owned by Dennis Collins and is probably one of the rarest barn finds here on display, being one of only 188. Well, guys, that's all we have here for McCacken. We can hear the band warming up. It turns into a party on Saturday night. You guys found value in this video, please give us a like and a thumbs up on the channel. It really helps the videos out. Again, my name is Parker with Backyard Barn Finds. Have a great day.